from a variety of different people, I've been sent memes and funny articles, during this time of the coronavirus. A few people have sent me a newspaper article about priests baptising in Ireland during the coronavirus and using a water pistol. So obviously a mock shot. I don't think any priest would actually do it. Someone is sending me numerous cartoons that almost every time my response back is simply, I don't think that I can put that on the parish Facebook. So it's my sort of almost canned response. I did do up one little one that I thought, I could put it up, but sort of, put it on the long finger. And I got this, my aunt told it to me that she'd seen somewhere, heard from her daughter, love like Jesus, but wash your hands like Pontius Pilate. Sort of a bit of a message, except that Pontius Pilate didn't wash his hands in the hope of good hygiene. If that's all he'd done, that would be okay. If he'd spent 20 seconds praying one of the Psalms while washing his hands and making sure that it was they were correctly clean, that would be okay. But of course his act of washing his hands was a disowning of what was going on in the case of Jesus. And he didn't stand alone in that. There were those who were actively involved in the crucifixion of Jesus, the crowds, the Roman authorities. But there were also those who allowed it to happen, who did nothing to try and stop it. Some at the command of Jesus, like his apostles, but they didn't even stand by his side. They ran for the hills. St. Peter, we'll hear on Good Friday, denied ever knowing Jesus 3 times. Talk about washing your hands of their responsibility for those God entrusts to our care. And of course that's rooted in the human story. If you go back to the very first story of the human family, we have the story of Cain who kills Abel. And when God asks Cain where Abel is, Cain says, am I my brother's keeper? Well, actually the answer is yes. We are actually responsible for each other. People have taken that phrase and turned it on its head and to say, I'm not responsible. But we are our brothers and sisters' keepers. And we should be powerfully reminded of that and the necessity for it during this very special time in which we're facing the coronavirus. Even if we're not allowed out of our homes, that doesn't mean that we're not responsible for one another. And we can exercise that responsibility through a phone call, an email, a text message, a video chat. We might know someone who lives alone and doesn't have family to visit them, and whether their family is not here or whether they've fallen out with their family for some reason or another. A common enough story in our communities. We are responsible for them, and we can reach out to them in a whole range of ways. And there are many people in our community doing that. I hear wonderful stories of, out at Forest Beach, people sort of trying to put together a network together. I'm sure this is true everywhere, of who's who and does anyone need any help, and people going shopping for others. I mean, our responsibility doesn't just end there. We are responsible to keep a bit of distance when we're at Coles or Woolies, so that we don't, if we are a contagion point, there's no chance that we can possibly, harm another person. And maybe we've even got a responsibility to those who are recklessly going around as if nothing has happened, to speak up as a word of justice, to say this has to stop. So this is not good enough, because it's not, for justice sake and out of love for others. The Lord would not have been nailed to the cross if others had been his keeper, if they guarded him as a brother. And that's a powerful reminder that he was, that isolation, that desertion, was because of the choices of others to step back, to deny knowing him, to wash their hands. So let's pray that we might wash our hands like Pilate for hygiene's sake, but let's not wash our hands like Pilate to disown our responsibility for others. And let's pray for the grace to at least have come to mind one person who we could reach out to and try to be their keeper during this Holy Week.